All right, good
All
morning.
right.
Welcome to this show. I am so thrilled to be joined by such a wonderful person today. She's had, an influence of yoga in her own life, but more than that, she chooses yoga as the means to kind of influence a lot of other people's lives out there. Shynee Narang is joining me all the way from Mumbai this morning. Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. Very, very good. But today I'm in Delhi. These days I'm in Delhi
Oh, you're
actually,
in Delhi
not
nowadays.
Mumbai.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So, for people who don't know, of course, you're a certified yoga instructor and the founder of YooYogic, and that's a digital platform for holistic health and wellness. And look at you. I can very confidently say that you look nice and healthy and fit in times like this. I think that's a blessing, isn't it?
It is indeed. And
Yeah.
I should just say that yoga made this possible for me.
Mm-hmm. What I think is really cool is, I believe you were a market researcher, and then you made the flip, and then now you're completely into yoga. So a lot of people can relate to that. Let's start with that. Like, how did that flip happen? When did you get exposed to yoga? Talk to me about your journey there.
Okay. So this is very interesting. And I had no plans to be a yoga teacher ever. And I was just curious and keen to, stay fit and stay healthy. That's about it. So I'll tell you the story. It starts from my tenure, my experience in market research. I used to work with IMRB International, Indian Market Research Bureau, which is a part of Kantar Group. And I was officially an insights director in my organization with people working with me. But because of that 9 to 5 job that, we get stuck in a lot of times, I was just eating on my desk the entire day and was putting on a lot of weight. So the idea was to shed some weight, like most people want to, and get fit. Unfortunately, our HR had started this initiative within the organization that you can join yoga before your office hours. So I used to go an hour early before my office hours, beat the office traffic. I used to attend my yoga classes within the office premise.
Right,
So
right.
that's what my first exposure to yoga was. This was back in 2008. And I thought it would be like so easy and boring and
Yeah, and
yoga hai
you thought
kya
you'd get
hotai
over it
jildi.
soon. Yeah, I mean, most people have that attitude, no, when they just start, when they're non-believers. You know what I mean?
I was I was like totally reluctant. My sister and my mother really pushed me and said, "Why don't you give it a try?" I said, "Yoga से क्या ही होने वाला है? क्या weight lose होगा yoga से मेरा? और क्या ही होगा इससे? But I should join Zumba, I should join dance, I should do something else." But within 3 sessions, I realized that my teacher, who was double my age, had 10 times more energy and stamina and flexibility and strength than I had. And I was stunned. I was like, wait a minute. I was panting almost within 10 minutes of my class, and he would be like, what is this? You what, 24, 25? Look at you. And I'm double your age, and you don't even know what health means and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, wait a minute. I think I really did not understand what yoga is. And within a week, within 2 weeks, my entire perception about yoga completely changed.
Right.
And I was so surprised. It's very demanding, it's very challenging. It challenges your mind, not just the body. And you have to give your 100% to yoga. And in return, you will see amazing results. So, initially, I did not notice, but my colleagues used to come and tell me, "Ma'am, you've become so much more fun and relaxed."
Really? So,
And
so they saw that kind of change in you. Wow.
yeah, yeah. And I was like, I'm the same person. But they said, we don't hear you shouting at us anymore. And
Oh God.
I'm like,
Wow. I think I should
okay.
recommend to a lot of people to do yoga now, especially people in my organization. But more than that, there are a lot of people who are watching this right now who are like, I'm not that flexible. I can't start, and they don't know where to start. So let's start for those people. Where do they begin, Shiny, and how do they begin? Let's go with that.
Okay. Okay, let's bust some myths. You don't need to be flexible to do yoga. It's saying that I need to be fit and fine to do gymming. I need to be lean to go to gym. That doesn't work like that. If you want to get lean, you go to gym. You if you want to build muscles, you go to gym. Similarly, if you want to become flexible, you start with yoga. So flexibility is not a prerequisite. Let me just burst that biggest myth. Second, it's a lot of people come back and say, oh, it's for women, they can do this better and blah, blah, blah. It's not true. It's for everybody, all age group. Every single person can do it. Now, where to start is a very good question, and the world today has a lot to offer. So you can download the apps and learn from it. You can enroll for online classes. You can also just watch some tutorials on YouTube and get going. And the best thing is, of course, if possible, once the lockdown is over and everything, to physically go and enroll yourself, with a studio or with a health center and start practicing. There is no right, wrong, best, not so good, good option. Just try whatever you feel like. Just take different trial sessions from different instructors and see what fits your personality type.
So there are different types of yoga, right, Shiny? So typically,
Hmm.
what would someone typically start with if they have absolutely no idea about the field? Where would they usually start?
I recommend people to start with Hatha Yoga or Hat Yoga, as we call it. So that's the basic, simplest form. It's not very rigorous, it's not very easy. It's somewhere in the middle. It's not very fast, it's not very slow either. So if you are somebody like me who likes a balance of flexibility, strength, stamina, Hatha yoga is a very good form to start with. I teach hatha, and if you are somebody who likes to move a lot and sweat a lot, and this movement is very essential for you, then you should definitely try Vinyasa Ashtanga Yoga, which is more rigorous and muscle building and demanding, very very demanding in fact. But if you're someone who's like really relaxed and laid back and don't want to take too much stress, I would still recommend you to do yoga, but pick up a form like yin yoga or iyengar yoga, which is very, very easy, just chilling out. But
I love how
all
you say it, just
are,
chilling out.
but all are equally, equally beneficial. Wanted to just say that.
Right. Okay. Super. And Shiny, I'll be honest. Okay. So I do yoga twice a week, and it's more to de-stress. It's more for my mind, and
Hmm.
it's more for me to just while I do my regular workouts through the week when it comes to strength and conditioning and things like that. Yoga is my days where I recuperate my mind more than my body, and I guess people use yoga for different things. Uh,
Hmm.
but is it there's nothing like, oh, you have to do it every day. Like, you can take it as per you, and there's nothing wrong with it. Am I right?
Absolutely right. You can choose to do it once a week, twice a week, thrice a week, 7 days a week.
Do you ever take an
Depends on
let's
what
be
your
honest,
goal is.
do you ever take an off day?
I do. I do. I let my body rest on Sundays.
Okay, okay, good. Okay, good to know that. I want to specifically focus on the work from home folk, Shiny. Let's talk about
Hmm.
them. What are some of the asanas that one can do when you're working from home to ensure optimal, I don't know, maybe concentration, maybe optimal, just like making sure your body's right while you're working from home. Take me through that.
Okay. So, although as yoga teachers, we keep telling people don't just focus on 5 poses or 10 poses and think that this is the start and end of your entire yoga practice. Never do that. You should actually take time out to do poses, to do all the asanas and rotation, and keep including different kinds of poses so that all body parts are worked and stretched and released. But having said that, there are some everyday things that people must do and should do, especially because of our neck cervical issues that we're looking down at the phone the entire day and the laptop, and especially because of our back because we are slouching and we don't realize then we are sitting and chilling in Netflix, using Netflix like this,
The
and
minute you said that, I
just
just consciously thought of my posture.
I saw that by the
Yeah,
way.
yeah, I'm sure you noticed it. But yes, go on, please.
So the idea is basically to make sure that your spine, is straight. So I recommend people to use a back support and always sit straight or keep a bolster or pillow cushion under the hips, which naturally elevates the hips and brings the knees down a little lower, and that helps to keep the spine straight. Also, your furniture that you're using on day-to-day basis plays a huge role. So make sure you don't choose something that you're really reclining in and have something that has a little more back support, especially upper back support. If nothing, then you can also place some cushions under your elbows to raise your hands up and then use your phones and whatever devices, because that allows your neck to be straight and doesn't let you slouch like this. So you're really up. So I request people to place the elbows on the whichever desk they are or whatever, to keep their body straight. These are some quick tips, but poses that you must do or should do is, one of them is palm tree pose, Tadasana, which is just interlocking the fingers and giving a nice vertical stretch to the body all the way up,
I'm gonna try it
lifting
with
your
you right
heels
now.
up.
I'm gonna try it with you right now. Like this. Am I doing it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yeah. And you also have to. We should be doing it standing. We basically bring the heels up to bring the weight on the toes, so that the entire body is stretched up towards the sky. So it decompresses the spine, and the back is relaxed. The shoulders are back in place, and the neck is also relaxed. So it really, really lengthens the entire body, which is one pose you should every day do this.
Okay.
Like do every day. And another one I would definitely recommend is twisting of the back. So simple, just placing your right hand on the left side, left knee, and just take a nice twist. And this will, crack your spine, and just do this for the other side. Yes. And this is very essential to release the back. And the third one, I would say, choose any pose that allows you, that makes you bend laterally. So triangle pose is a good pose, or just extending one arm to the side and taking the other arm to the other to the
Ah.
same side, and
Okay.
giving a nice side stretch to the
Got it.
body.
So that's mainly
So
stretches this part out mainly.
correct,
Yeah.
correct. So these are essential. Of course, you should definitely be doing butterfly pose, which is for the hips, to relax the hip. It helps that. A figure four pose is a good pose to relieve the sciatica nerve issue, because that's also increasing day by day because of long sitting hours in office. So these are some quick ones, easy ones that everyone can do anytime. And I also made a tutorial on work from home stretches and desktop yoga on my Instagram, and I've put all these tutorials for people who are really just sitting the entire day in the
Awesome.
office. They can
Right.
just take 10 minutes out and use that tutorial to refresh themselves.
Beautiful. I think well done. So I would love for you to give everyone the Instagram handle just so that they're aware before we slip into a break. Go ahead.
It's just my name, Shynee Narang, SHYNEENARANG. You
Perfect.
just find it, there's only one person.
When you started yoga, your colleagues were saying that you became like a more calm person. You were not yelling all the time. Apparently, that's what they said. But you know what? Honestly, I don't see. I've spent a long time chatting with you today, and I don't see how you could ever be a person who would yell. You look like such a calm and peaceful person, and I mean that.
No, no, I had a lot of anger issues, and I'll be honest. Growing up, I had a lot of anger issues, and I was a rebellious kid, and I had no idea how to deal with what's happening inside. But this is a fact that yoga actually transformed me over the years. It's been more than a decade since I've been practicing yoga, and I did not really know what was happening inside, but people used to come back and tell me, you know what? You didn't shout at that guy who overtook you from the wrong side on the Delhi road. And I'm like, oh, really? I didn't?
I gotta go back and shout at him now.
Yeah. And, then my mom would come back and say, hey, you're okay with this? And you didn't really raise a concern with the kind of food that was given and la la la. La. And I'm like, this is all very good. Suddenly everything seems so good. And I realized that people around me are realizing the changes more than I was realizing them. And over a period of time, it became a new, like I transformed and came out as a new person just because I was consistently practicing yoga. People notice the glow on my face. They're like, you're always smiling. Are you high? Are you, what's wrong with you? I said, this is permanent high. It's,
Yeah, I
you
can
don't need
imagine.
external substance here.
Yes, absolutely. And
So they saw these changes.
these changes, of course, like you said, it's happened with consistency, specifically over time. You started your yoga journey in 2008. How are things going for YooYogic, by the way? I'm curious. Please.
Okay. So YooYogic came in the concept came in mind about in 2018-19, and I thought of developing an app. The idea was to actually connect my some of the best teachers I've learned from to give them a platform so that they can teach students across the globe. So it's a virtual platform where, of course, you can do video calling and do sessions. The idea primarily was to work on the mental health more than the physical health. So I handpicked some very, very, very special teachers and got them on board and requested them. This was prior to COVID, and I requested them to, come be a part of this thing. I'm completely new, but I want to do this because I'm sure there are many people who need it. And this was, I think, a year after COVID thing happened and everything was shut, and the importance was only about health, mental health, physical health, and everything became digital. And suddenly people were like, hey, you know, you knew that this gonna happen.
You had some
I
foresight almost.
I said no, I just wanted to help people because yoga transformed me personally. And I became a very different being, a more calmer, relaxed, glowing, happy person, general happy person. And I thought, why not share it with others who can also
Yeah.
benefit from the same?
I mean, the joys of yoga needs to be shared. Otherwise, it's not really joy, right? And I think you
Yeah,
believe that
true,
strongly.
true.
I want to close out our lovely discussion that we've had with something that a lot of people might go through, and that's in times like this specifically, yoga is also used, and it's the number one use for me is to calm my mind down. And our mind seems to go on overdrive these days, let's be honest, and take extra stress than needed. What are some of the ways that we can use yoga to calm the mind, in your opinion?
It's a natural remedy. You don't have to use it. It will naturally work on your mind. No matter what pose you do, no matter which breathing exercise you do, it will naturally calm down your mind. It will work on all your glands and all your hormones. It balances out every single thing in your system. So the beauty is yoga works on all five layers of your body: your physical layer, your mental layer, emotional layer, your knowledge part, and your spiritual
Spiritual.
part.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. So all the layers get actually uh, rejuvenated, or I would say, you give them a new life. It's almost like giving them a new life to every single cell of your body. So that's how it works. It's just not about the mind. A lot of people think, oh, I'm too stressed, I need to do yoga. But guess what? It's going to correct all the other things that you're not even aware of. So, some of the basic things that you need to make sure is to do is just be consistent with your asana practice and make sure you include a little bit of pranayam breathing exercises along with 5 to 7 minutes of meditation every day. That's the least you can do.
I'll tell you something crazy, Shiny. So I recently had COVID. Maybe I tested positive on the 21st of April. I'll never forget that date. And going through COVID, breathing exercises and pranayam was one that really kept me sane. Number one, but would also bump up my oxygen saturation in such a large way. So like every time I hear of a friend getting COVID nowadays, I'm like, listen, you gotta do pranayam. It worked for me. It worked for me. So I'm a
You
big believer. I'm a big believer. But more than that, I do believe in the power of yoga, and you see it firsthand, or rather, you have been since 2008. Shiny, I want to say thank you so much for joining me, and it's so nice to see you smiling and so happy, and this conversation has been so fun. And I wish you all the very best, and I hope that not only on International Yoga Day, but on every day of the year, you continue to change people's lives and make people's days better with a little bit of yoga.
Thank you so much, Kate. Thank you so much. It's a
Awesome.
pleasure to be here.